Prep sports have arrived in 2024, and it's time for episode 1 of Premier Preps. We've got a banger of a season opener on the gridiron between Inderkum and Monterey Trail. We've got foundation games for both flag football and girls volleyball. Plus, I've got some insight on the new league realignments in the SAC-JOAQUIN section. Premier Preps, episode 1 in 3, 2, Welcome to the first episode of Premier Preps with me, Nick Pecoraro, for the 24-25 season. I am so excited to be back out and covering student athletes once again. You know, Premier Preps began at the very end of the football season last year, so I'm extra excited to bring you an entire fall season's worth of highlights, features, interviews, and much more. So go ahead and subscribe right here so you don't miss out on every episode, which will come out every Sunday night at 5 p.m. on YouTube. Well, let's get right into it, shall we? Our first football game of the year is a section playoff rematch from last year between two of the top programs to never have won a section championship. Both Inderkum and Monterey Trail looking to get over that hump this year. The winner of this matchup looking to get off to a great start in 2024 in Natomas on Friday night. All right, let's see if we remember how to do this. That playoff matchup from a year ago is ancient history. It's a brand new season for Inderkum and Monterey Trail. Here we go. First quarter, we start with some Tiger defense, which is led by Isaac Bam Estacio. Very appropriate nickname for the Tigers' middle linebacker. But the Mustangs have a dude who's going to be a problem this year as well. That's Elijah Falau coming in hot for the stop. But Inderkum had one of the most prolific offenses last year, and they've got dudes coming back in 2024. Ricky Cole hits Marcellus Maxwell, who breaks a tackle and picks up a few extra yards. A couple plays later, Cole to Leandrew Jenkins. Cole had 45 TD passes last year. That's number 1 for 2024. The extra point misses, so it's 6-0 Tigers. But Monterey Trail responds in kind. This dude is going to have a big year for the Mustangs. DeAdrian Sanders from 27 yards out ties the game up at 6 apiece in the second quarter. But on the very next play from scrimmage, folks get used to seeing this connection a ton at Inderkum this year. Ricky Cole to his top target from a year ago. If you don't know Lono Chateau, now you know. 62-yard hookup, and the Tigers go up 13-6. The next defensive possession for Inderkum, and it's a fumble! It's a scramble for the loose ball, but Manny Colon comes up with it, and the Tigers take back over. And they weren't wasting any time trying to get in the end zone. Denziah Lewis on the first play of the ensuing drive from 10 yards out. Tigers are cooking 20-6 with 9 minutes to play in the first half. Trail trying to keep it close. They go back to DeAdrian Sanders. That's a smart decision because he picks up 38 yards down to the Tiger 11. That would eventually set up this QB keeper from Christian Coronado, and Monterey Trail closes the gap to 20-12 at the half. In the third quarter, Cole again finds Leandrew Jenkins. He's auditioning to be Cole's top target this year. That's his second tutty of the game. He had 3 all of last year. Tigers up 27-12, but here is where the Trail comeback begins. Indy's backed up against its own goal line, and Subban Barakzai swallows up Cole in the end zone for a safety. Now here's a classic case of defense turning into offense. Coronado hits Jimmy Jackson, who shakes off his defender on the way to a 16-yard score, and all of a sudden it's a 1-score game. The Mustang defense comes up big again and holds Inderkum to a turnover on downs. But they have to drive 75 yards in the final 3 minutes to try to win the game. But some confusion on the fourth down snap, and Bam Estacio pounces on the tackle. Inderkum moves to 1-0 and has big plans for 2024.
I feel like we're going to go to state this year, you know. We've been working our butts off, you know. Every single day we get better, you know. We try to improve on the things we missed in the game at practice, you know. We watch film all the time, you know, and we all get on each other and just makes each other better, you know.
Well, again, both of these teams will be a force to be reckoned with in 2024. Who else, you ask, should we look out for this year? Well, here's a great place to start with the Premier Preps top 10 football teams after the opening week of the season. Well, last season was the inaugural campaign for girls flag football in the state of California, and what a booming success it was. Last year started with nearly 70 teams throughout the SAC-JOAQUIN section, and this year it's ballooned to 130 programs in one of the fastest growing prep sports in the state, and we're starting our coverage with two first-year programs in Oak Ridge and Ponderosa. Two schools with tons of championship pedigree in their respective girls' sports. Will one of these teams rise through the ranks this year? They had a nice tune-up with their foundation game on Wednesday. 'Cause girls is players too. Oak Ridge and Ponderosa locking up Wednesday, the first flag football game in history for either school. Buckle your seatbelts, folks, because this is a fast-paced sport. And speaking of fast, here's Pondo QB Brooklyn Nordquist. Is Brooklyn in the house? She runs for a first down, and then she throws for a touchdown. A 6-yard strike to Molly McFarland, and Pondo leads 7-0. On the Trojans' opening drive, Sophia Williams on the reverse sets up a goal-to-go situation, but on 4th and goal from the 4, Pondo's Madeline Meyer picks off a Trojan pass in the end zone, and that squashes the Oak Ridge drive. On the Bruins' ensuing possession, Nordquist in trouble, but she heaves it downfield and somehow finds Bella Escobar for a big gain. On the same drive, this time Nordquist finds Rowan Thomas all alone in the end zone, and Ponderosa goes up 14-0 with just under 8 minutes to play in the first half. Oak Ridge has to turn up the defense now, down 2 touchdowns, and Annalise Pengel comes through with a sack, just what the doctor ordered for Oak Ridge. But Pondo's still marching on this drive. Nordquist to Thomas, a great catch going to the ground, but Pondo needs to score here on 4th down. Nordquist gets it to McFarland, but she's stopped by a trio of Trojans. Trisha George and Maddie Letourneau get the flagpole to keep it a 2-score game at the break. Second half, more defense from Oak Ridge. Annalise Pengel, the San Marcos soccer commit, with her second sack of the game. But that would only contain Nordquist and the Bruins for a moment. Another TD toss to Rowan Thomas, and Pondo leads 20-0. Oak Ridge trying to get something going, but there goes that Miss Meyer again. Madeline Meyer with her second pick of the game. She returns it inside the Trojan 20. Pondo gets backed up on penalties, but no matter because that Brooklyn Nordquist to Rowan Thomas connection was cooking. How about the dime for a 40-yard touchdown? Nordquist's 4th and Thomas's 3rd of the game. It's 26-0. Oak Ridge would finally get on the board late. Carly Short with a 20-yard TD to Laurel Smart, but it's too little too late as Ponderosa comes out swinging, looking like they've been playing together for years.
Just practice. We practice those long throws all the time. We knew it would be open. Most teams, they don't really cover it for a long time, and then I just knew because there was 2 rushers coming at me, I just had to lead her and hope for her to catch it. I think we'll do pretty good. We did pretty good at our scrimmages that we had on Saturday, and I think we did better than we expected that we could do.
We're going to take a quick look at the Premier Preps preseason top 10 for girls flag football. And right at the top is the reigning D1 champion Del Oro, followed by the team it beat in the section finals last year in Wood Creek. The D2 champ Christian Brothers rounds out the top 3 to start the year. Real games begin this coming week, and here's a peek at the rest of the preseason top 10. Can't get enough high school sports in Sacramento? Well, Premier Preps has got you covered like no one else. You want game highlights? We got you. You want local insight? We got you. You want inspirational feature stories? We've got you. How about exclusive interviews with prominent players and coaches in the area? We got you. Scores, updates, top plays, and much, much more every Sunday at 5 o'clock during the high school season on YouTube. We look back at the week that was and keep you updated on who's got next. So follow along on social media and subscribe on YouTube to Premier Preps with me, Nick Pecoraro, because it's giving Sacramento high school sports the coverage it deserves. Well, one of the cool things about this particular season is that the SAC-JOAQUIN section has rolled out new league realignments, a bit of a reshuffling of the deck for a new competitive landscape. There aren't too many major differences, but there are several of note, and here's a look at what the new leagues look like throughout the SAC-JOAQUIN section. Well, high school sports are back for the 2024-25 school year, and Premier Preps has it covered like no one else. What's exciting about this particular season is that there will be some major shakeups across most of the leagues in the section. See, every 4 years, the SAC-JOAQUIN section rolls out new league realignments. Several rounds of discussion and voting from its members' schools lead to new competition, adjustment for enrollment, new rivalries born, and old ones renewed. Let's take a look at what this year's realignment looks like throughout the section. Let's start with the large schools in Division I, the SFL, Delta, and Tri-City Leagues all adding new programs. The SFL basically grabs Jesuit, Davis, and St. Francis from the Delta League, while the Delta becomes an all-Elk Grove area league, adding Monterey Trail and Laguna Creek. What a fun league that'll be. The TCal, meanwhile, gets rid of Tokay from Lodi and adds Edison of Stockton for football only. No football for Merrill West in the TCal, by the way. More on that in a bit. Big shakeups in Division II with the exception of the All-209 CCal, which stays unchanged with Enox, Gregory, Downey, Turlock, Modesto, and Pittman. But here's where things get interesting. A long-time medium school power league, the Capital Athletic League, is no more. Realignment has completely blown up this league after several years of competitive play, and here's where its teams land. Most of them go to D2 leagues as the CVC welcomes Christian Brothers, Rio Americano, Vista del Lago, and Ponderosa from the Foothill Valley League, while the Metro League makes up for the loss of Laguna Creek and Monterey Trail by adding Antelope, Cordova, West Park, and Destiny Christian, the artist formerly known as Capital Christian, for football and boys basketball only. Some movement in D3, perhaps the biggest move down in the southern part of the section, is Patterson moving from the CCC into one of the top power leagues in the 209, the Valley Oak League. A lot of people high on Patterson football coming into this season. And we mentioned football earlier at Merrill West. The Wolfpack will play football only in the new look SJAA. Now, some big shakeups in Division III up north. The Foothill Valley League keeps Placer and Nevada Union and brings in Del Campo, River Valley, Roseville, 12 Bridges, and Yuba City, while the Monticello Empire League out in the 707 adds a little 916 flavor with River City and Sac High. That should be an amazing basketball league for at least the next 4 years. Division IV looks like this. The new look Golden Empire League, the Greater Sacramento League, and the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference down south, featured Destiny Christian, El Camino, Natomas, and Sutter coming into the GEL. Armijo, Fairfield, and Burbank joined the GSL. And after losing Mountain House and Los Banos, the WAC brings in Central Valley from the CCC and Livingston from the TVL. All right, you still with me? Good, because there's some notable changes in Division 5. A couple schools affected by drops in enrollment due to newer schools opening over the past few years. Lincoln and Oakmont leave the FVL and join the Pioneer Valley League. But keep in mind, Oakmont baseball is the reigning section and NorCal champion at the D3 level, so that is where the Vikings will remain on the diamond this spring. The SVC Sierra Valley Conference welcomes Argonaut and Amador from the Motherlode League in Amador County, while keeping its 6 incumbent teams. And the proud TVL welcomes Oristimba, Sonora, and Ripon Christian, setting up what should be some great league rivalry games between the Knights and next-door neighbor Ripon Indians. Here's a look at the southern portion of the Division 6 leagues. You'll notice that the newest school in the section, River Islands out of Lathrop, will compete as part of 2 different leagues. This will be the first year of varsity sports for the Riptide, who will solely play football in the Motherlode League and all other sports in the Central California Athletic Association, as will the Millennium Falcons out of Tracy. Linden and Riverbank also joining the MLL this year. And state champions moving up from D7 to D6, of course I'm talking about Woodland Christian. The Cardinals won a state title in football and a NorCal crown in baseball last year. And now they take their programs up to D6 in the Sierra Delta League. The Southern League loses Oristimba and Ripon Christian and gains Stone Ridge Christian of Merced and Modesto Christian. The Crusaders, however, will still play basketball at the D1 level in the Tri-City League and football at the D5 level in the TVL. And finally, in Division 7, the NPAC, the Northern Pacific Athletic Conference, doubles in size from 4 teams to 8, adding Esparto, Delta, the Elite Eagles out of Vallejo, and Creative Connections Arts Academy. The Mountain Valley League, meanwhile, adds Elliott Christian out of Stockton and Vanguard College Prep out of Modesto. And up north, both the Central Valley California League and Sacramento Metro Athletic League remain relatively unchanged, aside from the loss of Woodland Christian and Delta, and these 2 leagues will each gain John Adams Academy. Now, how's that possible, you ask? Well, John Adams Academy has separate campuses with separate athletic departments, and the Roseville campus will play in the CVCL, and the El Dorado Hills campus will compete in the SMAL. And one final thing of note is that the SMAL will have a football-only league at the D7 level, and that league will comprise Forest Hill, Delta, Encina Prep, Esparto, Western Sierra Collegiate Academy, Elite, and Valley Christian Academy. A little bit of traveling to be done in that league, but it should be very competitive. All right, I hope I didn't just thoroughly confuse you, but this is your new league realignment in the SAC-JOAQUIN section for 2024 through 2028. I'm Nick Pecoraro, and you're watching Premier Preps. Well, it seems that this year has no clear-cut favorite in the girls' volleyball landscape, and that just means that there's great competition everywhere. We're starting our girls volleyball coverage this year with 2 programs with a combined 16 SAC-JOAQUIN section titles, El Dorado and Rio Americano, hooking up for their foundation game in Carmichael on Tuesday night. 2 teams that made appearances in last year's state tournament, Rio Americano hosting El Dorado for a girls volleyball foundation game. Head coach John Grix's newborn, Tori, taking in his first volleyball game. Here we go. First set, Rio off to a 6-0 start thanks to 3 aces from Kendall Carey. And moments later, Camden Calhoff getting in on the fun. This was the start of a big night for the returning All-League junior. But the Cougars came to play too. Senior Ona Cooney gets herself on the board to bring it to within 5. But the Raiders finish off set 1, 25-18, as Calhoff skims it off the net for set point. Rio leads 1-0. We switch sides now for the second set. Calhoff picks right up where she left off. Your boy almost had to abandon ship right there. But here come the Cougs. Morgan Bell sets Avery Hornsby. She was El Dorado's leading hitter last year, and she's picking up right where she left off. And on the next point, Bell again with the set, this time to Pearl Cooney, and the Cougs are trying to make a push. But Rio with some hustle on this next play. El Dorado gets the block, but Raider freshman Quinn Carrillo hits the deck, keeps it alive, and Rio winds up with the point. Coach Griggs has to like the hustle from his freshman. And then that sets up another big run from the Raiders. Another freshman, Emma Simmons, has an ace up her sleeve. And Rio takes set 2, 25-10. To the third now, El Dorado senior Kira Hennifer finds a weak spot in the back row. But Rio's Camden Kalhoff wasn't just finding weak spots, she was creating them. She had 22 kills on the night. She'll be a force to be reckoned with this year, and she's got a fan club. But Camden wasn't the only Raider swinging it on Tuesday. Kendall Carey showing off the guns from the left side. 5 kills for her on Tuesday, and the Raiders were just getting it done in all facets of the game. Daphne Pinnell with a big rejection at the net. But El Dorado showing off some defense of its own as Stella Diamond says, "Get that stuff out of here." But the night belonged to Rio, and it's jumping junior Camden Kalhoff, too hot to handle for match point. Rio gets the sweep. We had them ranked at number 8 to start the season. Hey Camden, did we have you guys too low?
A lot of people don't really have us in the ranking, but I feel like we could come from under and surprise some people. We won a lot last year, but no matter if we were winning or losing, we always had a good mindset going into every game. So I think one thing that our program does a really good job with is going into every game with a positive mindset.
We've got one more set of preseason top 10 rankings, this time for girls volleyball. There could be a ton of movement in these rankings in the weeks to come, but this is our top 10 to begin the year. A special shout out to Dr. Janae Young at Infinite Performance Physical Therapy, who's bringing you the Premier Preps Plays of the Week. Hey, if you're an athlete who's dealing with an injury and are looking to rehab, or even if you're an athlete who's looking to prevent injury, make sure you look up Infinite Performance Physical Therapy. Dr. Young's got some great programs to get you on the right track. So, if you were following Premier Preps on social media over the summer, then you already know that we had an amazing Play of the Year bracket where fans could vote for their favorite play from the 2023 coverage from Premier Preps. And after 2 months of voting, more than 5,000 votes cast, Charlie Rios of McClatchy Baseball was voted for the Play of the Year. Now, as a former right fielder myself, I can appreciate the difficulty of this play. So congratulations, Charlie. We made sure to send Charlie a Premier Preps t-shirt and hat combination, which I got right here. I also have these for sale. If you want to rock some Premier Preps swag this year, send me a message on social media and I'll hook you up with some of these bad boys. With that being said, send me a top play nomination even if I'm not at your game throughout the year. Just make sure to tag me on my social media pages no later than 11 p.m. on Friday nights, and we'll see if we can get you into our top plays. And with that said, here's a quick look at our Infinite Performance Plays of the Week from Week 1. Coming in at number 5, we've got a few plays from this game. Oak Ridge at Ponderosa flag football. Madeline Meyer had 2 interceptions in this game. This one was definitely the sweetest, with the spin move to avoid her defender, but we've got some more from her Bruin teammates. Here's QB Brooklyn Nordquist across the middle to Rowan Thomas, who lays out for the catch, but I still think we may have even more from Pondo flag later. Number 3, Rio Americano looks dead to rights, but Quinn Carrillo with the up. Kate Ellis keeps it alive, and Kendall Carey finishes the job. Raiders end up with the point thanks to hustle all around.
At number 2, Inderkum's Zayden Maxwell has to spin backwards to catch this pass. He's got the good hands, though, as Inderkum wins 27-21 over Monterey Trail. And coming in at number 1, we go back to Ponderosa flag football. It's Joe Montana to Jerry Rice. Brooklyn Nordquist to Rowan Thomas. 4 TD passes for Nordquist, 3 TD catches for Thomas to go with 100 yards on the dot. And they get the Infinite Performance Play of the Week.
Well, that's it for episode 1 of Premier Preps. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join us next week as we jump right in to girls flag football and volleyball and continue with some more Premier football coverage right here on Premier Preps. I'm Nick Pecoraro. Thank you so much for watching.